Let's talk about the announcement that was both a bombshell and, in many ways, completely expected. In a political landscape where surprises are rare, this one still managed to send shockwaves through the country. Bernie Sanders is officially out of the 2028 presidential race. After years of speculation, rumors, and hopeful whispers among his supporters, the Vermont senator has made it clear he will not be seeking the presidency again. The Vermont senator, long the face and voice of American progressivism, has finally put an end to the endless guessing games. He's stepping aside, closing a chapter that has defined a generation of political activism. His reason? Age. Sanders, who will turn 84 next month, says the demands of a modern campaign, traveling non-stop, endless rallies, constant media scrutiny, are simply too much at this stage of his life. He's candid about the physical and mental toll, acknowledging what many politicians refuse to admit. In a political world where few ever step aside willingly, his honesty is almost shocking. Most politicians cling to power, but Sanders is choosing a different path, one that puts the movement above his own ambitions. But this isn't just about Bernie stepping back. It's a strategic move to force the progressive movement to look beyond him. He's sending a message. The future of progressive politics can't rest on one person's shoulders. He's actively dismantling the cult of personality that's grown around him, making space for a broader, more decentralized vision of change. Sanders wants the movement to be bigger than any single leader. Sanders wants the movement to outlast him, not be defined by him. He's encouraging new leaders to step up, to take the torch and run with it, ensuring that the fight for justice, equality, and economic fairness continues for generations. So, for those still clinging to Bernie 2028 dreams, it's time to move on. The era of Sanders as a candidate is over, but the ideals he championed are alive and well, ready to be carried forward by a new generation. This isn't retirement, it's a new chapter. Sanders is not disappearing from public life. Instead, he's shifting his focus, using his experience and influence to empower others. Sanders is transitioning from candidate to movement builder, determined to direct the revolution from behind the scenes. He'll be mentoring young activists, strategizing with organizers, and lending his voice to causes that matter. The focus now is clear: building a political force that can't be ignored, no matter who's in the White House. The movement is about collective action, grassroots organizing, and making sure progressive values have a seat at every table. The era of Bernie the candidate is over, but the fight is far from finished. The revolution he inspired continues, fueled by the passion of millions who believe in a better, fairer America. The torch has been passed, and the movement marches on. With his candidacy off the table, Sanders is now laser-focused on building a grassroots movement that reaches far beyond any single election cycle. He's shifting his energy from the campaign trail to the streets, community centers, and union halls, determined to ignite a new era of political engagement. Instead of naming a successor or endorsing a new leader, he's telling his supporters, "It's up to you." Sanders is urging ordinary people to step up, get involved, and take ownership of the movement's future. Sanders believes that real leadership will emerge organically from the ranks of passionate activists, not from a hand-picked heir. He trusts that the next generation of leaders will rise from the movement itself, shaped by shared struggle and collective action. His strategy is clear: organize, educate, and empower working-class people everywhere. He's investing in training volunteers, building local networks, and fostering a culture of solidarity that can withstand setbacks and keep pushing forward. The goal is to create a relentless, unified force that demands real change and holds politicians accountable at every level of government. Sanders envisions a movement that can't be ignored or co-opted, one that keeps the pressure on long after the headlines fade. He's playing the long game, prioritizing organizing over personality and focusing on building lasting power from the ground up. Sanders sees himself as a catalyst, not a kingmaker. He's stepping back so others can step forward, encouraging new voices and fresh ideas to shape the movement's direction. He's laying the groundwork for a movement that survives any one politician. A movement built to last, adapt, and grow stronger with each challenge. For Sanders, it's always been about the many, not the few. He's committed to ensuring that the power of the people remains at the heart of the struggle for justice and equality. Now, he's trading the spotlight for the hard work of building power from the ground up, believing that true change comes not from one leader, but from millions of people working together for a better future. Sanders isn't just criticizing Republicans, he's taking aim at the Democratic establishment too. He argues the party has drifted from its working-class roots, becoming too cozy with wealthy donors and corporate interests. Sanders has called out leaders like Kamala Harris, accusing them of prioritizing big donors over everyday Americans. He warns that chasing corporate cash has alienated the party's base and weakened its appeal. Sanders insists Democrats must return to bold, pro-worker policies, higher wages, stronger unions, universal health care. His message, the party must choose, Wall Street or Main Street, before it loses its soul and its voters. Sanders is urging Democrats to get tough. No more bringing a letter to a knife fight. He points to Republican gerrymandering as a direct attack on democracy and says Democrats can't afford to play nice while the other side rewrites the rules. While he hates gerrymandering, he argues unilateral disarmament is political suicide. Sanders' message ideals are meaningless without power to enact them. The fight for democracy is happening now, and Democrats must be willing to use every tool to protect it. On foreign policy, Sanders has taken a bold, controversial stand on Gaza. He's condemned U.S. arms sales to Israel, calling them morally indefensible amid the humanitarian crisis. Sanders says Netanyahu's government is isolating Israel and undermining its own security. He's leading a push within the Democratic Party to reassess America's relationship with Israel, demanding a foreign policy rooted in human rights. Sanders wants the U.S. to push for an immediate ceasefire, humanitarian aid, and a real two-state solution. His stance: American values must apply everywhere, not just where it's convenient. On Ukraine, Sanders is clear. Putin's invasion is criminal, and Ukraine has the right to defend itself. He supports military aid, but insists the end goal must be a negotiated peace, not endless war. Any settlement, he says, must respect Ukraine's sovereignty and the will of its people. Sanders balances military support with a constant push for diplomacy. He rejects both isolationism and reckless intervention, advocating for principled internationalism. The aim: defend democracy, but relentlessly pursue peace. For Sanders, real leadership means strength and restraint in equal measure. Sanders is taking his message on the road with the Fighting Oligarchy Tour. He's rallying crowds across the country, warning about the dangers of corporate greed and concentrated power. At every stop, he connects personal struggles, stagnant wages, unaffordable health care, to the broader problem of oligarchy. The tour is a masterclass in political education and grassroots organizing. Sanders is bypassing the media, building momentum from the ground up. He's urging people to join unions, run for office, and organize in their communities. This isn't about him. It's about building a movement that lasts. Even off the ballot, Sanders is proving he's still a force in American politics. With his presidential ambitions behind him, Sanders is focused on the future of the movement. He refuses to play kingmaker, insisting leadership must emerge from grassroots activism. Sanders sees his role as mentor and organizer, helping new leaders rise. He's confident the ideas he's championed, Medicare for all, a Green New Deal, are here to stay. By stepping back, he's making space for others to lead. The movement, he insists, is bigger than any one person. Sanders' legacy will be measured by the infrastructure and leaders he's inspired. He's betting the revolution will outlast him, and he's building it to do just that. Sanders' 2028 announcement isn't an ending, it's a transformation. It marks a pivotal moment, not just for him, but for everyone who has ever believed in the power of grassroots change. This is a turning point, a signal that the movement he helped ignite is ready to evolve and grow beyond any single individual. By stepping aside, he's proving the movement isn't about one man's ambition, but collective action for systemic change. It's about millions of people coming together, united by a shared vision for justice, equality, and a better future. The message is clear. Real progress is built by communities, not just candidates. His work now is about building a force that can't be ignored, co-opted, or dismissed. He's laying the foundation for a movement that will outlast any campaign, one that will continue to challenge the status quo and demand accountability from those in power. The challenges ahead, money in politics, attacks on democracy, foreign policy crises, require a movement, not a single leader. These are battles that can only be won when people stand together, organized and determined, refusing to back down in the face of adversity. Sanders is planting seeds for a new generation of activism. He's inspiring young people, empowering them to take the reins, and showing them that their voices matter. The future of the movement depends on their passion, creativity, and willingness to fight for what's right. His decision not to run is an act of empowerment, declaring the movement ready to stand on its own. It's a statement of trust in the people, a belief that the torch can be passed and the flame will only burn brighter. The revolution was never about him. It was always about the people, their struggles, their hopes, and their collective power to create lasting change. As he steps back, the fight continues, and as Sanders would say, it's only just begun. The movement is alive, stronger than ever, and ready to write the next chapter in the story of progress.